Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top five are correct, and then make predictions for next week's top five. So let's get right on into it. Last week, I predicted that number one would be Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, number two would be Incredibles 2, number three would be Sicario Day of the Soldado, number four would be Uncle Drew, and number five would be Ocean's 8. And I got all five of my predictions right for this weekend. I wasn't sure if Uncle Drew was going to make a little bit more than Sicario because Uncle Drew considerably might have the bigger fan base considering it's about basketball players, but Sicario was able to make more than it and get to the accurate position that I predicted. So let's go over what happened in the overall top 10. Number one was once again Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. This weekend it made $60 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $264 million, and on the worldwide chart it is sitting at $932 million. So $68 million more, and it's already at $1 billion worldwide, which is fantastic, obviously. And this movie is doing incredibly well financially, even though it's not doing as much as the first Jurassic World. It literally doesn't even matter because 2 weeks into its domestic run and it's almost at $1 billion worldwide. That's amazing. Now, considering last weekend I wanted to know the drop that this film was going to have, and it had a 59% drop. Last weekend it opened around 148 million, and now it's made a little bit more than the halfway point of that with only 60 million. That's still not bad though. Like it does show that the audience is starting to pull away from this a bit more, considering the backlash of what some people were saying. But it's still making a lot of money, so it's not like this much of a drop is such a huge thing. Like, they already have enough money to fund Jurassic World 3, so they're fine. Number two, we have Incredibles 2, making $45 million, adding to a domestic total of $439, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $646 million. So this movie is still holding out very well. I'm wondering how much of a drop this movie will have once Ant-Man comes out next weekend, but I think it'll still do very well. Worldwide, it still needs about $354 million to get to $1 billion worldwide, and domestically it needs about $61 million more to get to $500 million domestically. So it's still doing very well regardless, but I just me personally, I'd like to see it get to those numbers. But still, it's doing incredibly well financially. It just tripled its budget, getting past the $600 million point. If it gets to $800 million worldwide, it'll quadruple that. Moving on to number three, we have Sicario Day of the Soldado, making $19 million, which is more than the first Sicario movie made, and that is on a budget of $35 million. So it needs to get to $70 million to be considered a success. So domestically, it'll make a little bit more than what it's made already, but worldwide, when you look at that, it's already sitting at $27 million. So I'm thinking it'll be like a combined thing, where domestically it might have a chance to get past the 35 million point, but worldwide that's what's going to really push it beyond the 70 million doubling point and, help them fund Sicario 3 whenever that comes out, which, of course, if you've seen my review, I can't wait for that whenever they make it. And I'm glad that there are people that are still coming out to see this movie, because the first one had like a few limited runs, and then it had an official release of like 13 million or something like that. So I'm glad that there's more people showing up for this opening weekend than the first Sicario. And I hope that this movie holds off very well. Like, I know Ant-Man and First Purge are coming, and Skyscraper and Mission Impossible, but I just hope that Sicario still holds out very well, because this is a film that I really do adore, and it would suck to see it not make as much. Number four, we have Uncle Drew, making $15 million. Now, budget-wise, it is only at $17 million, or 17 to 19 million, so it needs about 34 or 38 million to be considered a success, so let's just say 40 million. I think it'll be able to get there. Like, domestically, this isn't a bad start, and also I'm assuming worldwide will eventually kick in and help them boost up a bit. So, Uncle Drew, not enough to beat Sicario, but it's still gonna do very well regardless. Number five, we have Ocean's 8, making $8 million, adding to a domestic total of $114 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $209 million. So it needs literally $1 million more to triple its $70 million budget. So basically now is just the waiting game, waiting for the studio to announce that Ocean's 9 is in development or something like that, because at this point they can get away with that. The money is right there. Number six, we have Tag, making $5 million, adding to a domestic total of $40 million, and on the worldwide chart it is sitting at 48. It needs $8 million more to get to $56 million, which is the doubling point of its $28 million budget. I think it will be able to get there. Like, domestically it's starting to slow down a bit, but I think give it like next week or maybe the week after that, and it'll get to $56 6 million at least worldwide. Number 7, we have Deadpool 2 making 3 million, adding to a domestic total of 310, and on the worldwide chart it is sitting at 719. So that's also still very good for this movie. It's about to leave soon, not like literally next weekend or something, but in the next coming weeks it'll be gone, and that'll suck to see it go, but it still made over 300 million domestically, and it got pretty close to a billion. Like 700 million worldwide is still not a bad thing at all. Moving on to number 8, we have a movie I've never heard of, so let's breeze over this like I normally do. Sanju, yeah, making 2.5 million on a budget of I don't know, but worldwide it is sitting at 24 million, so maybe that's good. Don't really know. So let's move on to number 9, which is Solo, a Star Wars story. I think this movie will be gone next weekend, just putting that out there. It made 2.293 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of 207 million, and on the worldwide chart it is only at 368 million. Rest in peace, Alden Ehrenreich, Solo. Hopefully Disney can move on from this and continue to make great Star Wars movies and not unnecessary standalone stuff. And finally, closing out the top 10, Won't You Be My Neighbor, the star documentary of the summer, making $2.290 million, adding to a domestic total of $7 million. I still don't know what the budget is, but I'm assuming it can't be too much, considering it is just a documentary after all. So that's very good for this movie. Now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. Number 1, obviously, Ant-Man and the Wasp, like, duh. Number 2, I think will be the first Purge. It does open on a Wednesday, but I still think the weekend crowd will be very large for it. Number 3, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Number 4, Incredibles 2. And number 5, Sicario, Day of the Soldado. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave it in the comments below, and if you got your predictions right for this week, you're going to get a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right, then I'm sorry. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.